So today I'm going to tell you about the hybrid machine translation. Let us start with the introduction. First of all, what is machine translation? Machine translation is the area of natural language processing that focuses on obtaining a target language text from a source language text by means of automatic techniques. Machine translation is a multidisciplinary field, and the challenge has been approached from various points of view, including linguistics and statistics. So there are several types of machine translation. First one is interlingual machine translation. In this approach, the source language, that is the text to be translated, is transformed into interlingual language, that is a language-neutral representation that is independent of any language. The target language is then generated out of the interlingua. One of the major advantages of this system is that the interlingua becomes more valuable as the number of target languages it can be turned into increases. So the second one is transfer-based machine translation, and this is the type of translation that is similar to interlingual machine translation in that it creates a translation from an intermediate representation that simulates the meaning of the original sentence. And unlike interlingual machine translation, it depends partially on the language pair involved in the translation. The third one is dictionary-based machine translation. Okay, so the third type is dictionary-based machine translation. Machine translation can use a method based on dictionary entries, which means that the words can be translated as they are by a dictionary. The next one is the rule-based machine translation. And so the rule-based machine translation paradigm includes transfer-based machine translation, interlingual machine translation, and dictionary-based machine translation paradigms. This type of translation is used mostly in the creation of dictionaries and grammar programs. Unlike other methods, rule-based machine translation involves more information about linguistics of the source and target languages, using the morphological and syntactic rules and semantic analysis of both languages. The next one is statistical machine translation, and this type of machine translation tries to generate translations using statistical methods based on bilingual text corpora, such as, for example, the Canadian corpus, the English-French record of the Canadian Parliament, etc., the record of the European Parliament. Where such corpora are available, good results can be achieved translating similar text, but such corpora are still rare for many language pairs. So the next one is example-based machine translation, and this translation is based on the idea of analogy. In this approach, the corpus that is used is one of the contains texts that have already been translated. Given a sentence that is to be translated, sentences from this corpus are selected that contain similar substantial components. And similar sentences are then used to translate the substantial components of the original sentence into the target language. And these phrases are put together to form a complete translation. And the last one is neural machine translation. So I'd like to say that a deep learning-based approach to machine translation, neural machine translation has made rapid progress in recent years. And for example, Google has announced its translation services are now using this technology in preference to its previous statistical methods. Other providers, including Canton Machine Translation, Omniscient Technologies, SDL, have announced the deployment of neural machine translation technology in 2017 as well. So the existence of different perspectives has made possible the proliferation of hybrid methodologies. But what is hybrid machine translation? Hybrid machine translation is a method of machine translation that is characterized by the use of multiple machine translation approaches within a single machine translation system. The motivation for developing hybrid machine translation systems stems from the failure of any single technique to achieve a satisfactory level of accuracy. Many hybrid machine translation systems have been successful in improving the accuracy of the translations, and there are several popular machine translation systems which employ hybrid methods. Among these are, for example, prompt, as you can see on this slide, Cistran and Omniscient Technologies, which was formerly called Asia Online. So let's talk about hybridization of machine translation architectures. Several different methodologies have been used to hybridize machine translation within and across paradigms. As shown in Figure 1, as you can see it in the slide, hybridization of rule-based machine translation and corpus-based machine translation can be classified into those guided by rule-based machine translation or guided by corpus-based machine translation. The former integrates data information into rule-based architecture. The latter integrates linguistic rules into corpus-based architecture. So hybridization guided by rule-based machine translation. The final hybrid translation is created by choosing the most probable combination among the available fragments with a statistical recorder in a monatomic way. You can see it on the next picture, Figure 2. In addition, there are rule-based machine translation systems that introduce machine learning techniques such as classifiers in order to identify the set of appropriate translation candidates. Hybridization guided by corpus-based machine translation. You can see it on the third picture. Hybrid system guided by corpus-based machine translation may incorporate rules or just combine various corpus-based machine translation approaches. There are basically two main ways of integrating rules into corpus-based machine translation approaches: using rules at pre- or post-processing and integrating dictionaries rules into the core model. Rules at pre- or post-processing. Pre-processing rules have been used to record the source sentence into a form that better matches the target language. And the scheme for this type of strategy is shown in Figure 3. Now let's talk about the application of hybrid components. Machine translation applications with hybrid components. And among the variety of machine translation applications, we can name popular ones such as speech translation, cross-lingual information retrieval, and computer-aided translation. Hybridization within these applications have been used in different ways, and we comment some of them without aiming to be exhaustive. So let's talk about speech translation. Frequently, speech translation is addressed as a concatenation of a speech recognizer, a machine translator, and a speech synthesizer. Hybridization in this application can be placed at any of the three systems. In speech recognition, hybridization has been done of incorporating neural network approaches into state-of-the-art continuous speech recognition systems based on hidden models. The next one is cross-lingual information retrieval. Normally, the application of cross-lingual information retrieval is done by concatenating MT, that is machine translation, and information retrieval. For example, an ontology for the retrieval of users' context, a user profile that is temporarily updated according to users' browsing behavior, and collaborative filtering for considering recommendations of similar users. Computer-aided translation, this is the next one. So finally, computer-aided translation is by definition a combination of the roles of both man and the machine, as you have already known. Recent work uses a machine-aided translation system, which is a hybrid system that applies not only TM technologies, but also MT methodologies, including the annotation schema of translation corresponding tree in the representation of bilingual examples and the language formalism of constraint-based synchronous grammar in analyzing the syntactic structure between languages. And also propose a hybrid interactive machine translation method that combines rule and example-based machine translation approaches with an interactive man-machine interface. So that is it. That's all that I was going to tell you. Thank you very much for your attention.
Thank you. Коротко рассказать Что такое гибридный перевод на русском языке для тех, кто слушал нас? Если вам нужно?
Можно очень коротко, да. Ну, для того, чтобы понять, что такое гибридный машинный перевод, нужно понять, что такое вообще машинный перевод.
Мы об этом много говорили сегодня.
Ну да, машинный перевод, существует несколько видов машинного перевода, их можно увидеть на слайде. И что касается гибридного машинного перевода, он состоит из нескольких машинных переводов, несколько подходов к машинному переводу. Так, как бы сократить. И именно за счет того, что гибридный машинный перевод включает в себя несколько видов машинных переводов, за счет этого улучшается точность самого перевода, то есть перевод выполняется эффективнее. Существуют такие виды программ, к примеру, Prompt, Ссылка, это Ministry Technologies, который раньше назывался Азия Онлайн, который использует в себе именно вот этот вот метод гибридного машинного перевода. Также я сегодня говорила о том, что метод гибридизации машинного перевода, какие виды есть гибридизации, к примеру, например, на первой картинке здесь идет гибридизация машинного перевода, основанная на грамматических правилах и на корпусах. Вторая картинка – это гибридизация, основанная только основанная на корпусах. И что касается третьей картинки, да, это основано на статистическом методе. Также я говорила о том, что применение компонентов гибридного машинного перевода очень разнообразно, то есть можно эти компоненты использовать в переводе речи, в поиске межязыковой информации любой, и также в автоматизированном переводе. То есть это перевод, который выполняется не только с помощью машины или компьютера, а также еще с помощью человека.